The wind that day was sharp enough to sting. It carried the smell of roasted chestnuts and car exhaust, a strange mix only a city like New York could offer. People moved fast, heads down, hands wrapped around coffee cups, earbuds in. Nobody noticed the old woman standing on the corner. Her white hair was pulled into a tight bun, but strands had escaped and whipped against her face in the wind. Her coat was wool, the kind that might have been fashionable decades ago. The buttons were mismatched, one too high, one too low, and her black leather shoes were scuffed almost to gray. She clutched a small handbag like it was the only thing keeping her steady. Her lips moved as if she were speaking to herself. Her eyes, pale blue, darted from building to building, as though searching for something she'd lost. When she tried to stop people, no one paused long enough to hear her. A man in a navy suit brushed by, muttering sorry without looking. A young woman with a stroller smiled briefly but quickened her pace. A delivery guy on a bike swerved around her without slowing down. The city kept moving. She stayed still, invisible. It was Malik's day off from his after-school shift at the grocery store. He had promised his mom he'd pick up some bread and milk before heading home, but right now he was just walking. At 16, Malik had learned the art of blending in. Hood up, hands in pockets, walk like you have somewhere to be. But when he spotted the old woman on the corner, something in him hesitated. She wasn't just standing there, she looked lost. Not "I took the wrong bus" lost, but "I don't remember where I live" lost. Her gaze met his for half a second. In that moment, Malik saw fear in her eyes. Not the sharp fear of danger, but the slow, creeping fear of confusion. People streamed around her like water around a rock. Malik stopped. "Uh, ma'am, you okay?" he asked, pulling down his hood. She turned toward him, relief flooding her face so suddenly it almost startled him. "Oh, young man, I, I can't seem to find my way home," she stammered. Her voice trembled, but it was soft, cultured. I think, I think I took the wrong street. Nothing looks familiar." Malik glanced around. They were on the corner of 5th and West 43rd, just blocks from the chaos of Times Square. "You got an address?" he asked gently. She frowned. It's on a card in my purse." Her gloved hands shook as she dug through her handbag. Malik noticed her gloves were cashmere, the kind that probably cost more than his sneakers. She pulled out a small envelope and handed it to him. Inside was a neatly printed card. Eleanor Whitmore. The Whitmore building, penthouse. Malik's brows shot up. He'd passed the Whitmore building before. It was one of those luxury skyscrapers with a doorman, marble lobby, and apartments that cost more in rent than most people made in a year. "You live here?" he asked, surprised. She smiled faintly. "Yes, at least, I think I still do." The way she said it made his stomach twist. "I can take you there," Malik offered. "Oh, would you?" she asked, like no one had offered her kindness in years. As they walked, she asked his name, and he told her. "Malik. That's a strong name," she said, her voice softening. "Do you go to school?" "Yeah, junior year, hoping to get into college," he replied. She nodded, though her gaze often drifted off to the buildings around them, as if each one might suddenly jog her memory. They reached the Whitmore building in under 15 minutes. The doorman's eyes widened when he saw her. "Mrs. Whitmore, we've been looking for you," he exclaimed, rushing forward. As soon as they stepped inside, Malik felt out of place. The lobby smelled faintly of lemon polish and fresh flowers. Gold-trimmed mirrors lined the walls. A crystal chandelier hung overhead like a frozen waterfall. The doorman, clearly relieved, called upstairs. Within moments, a middle-aged man in a tailored suit came hurrying down. "Mother, where have you been?" he demanded, though his tone carried more frustration than concern. I just went for a walk, Eleanor said quietly. A walk? Without telling anyone? Do you have any idea? He stopped mid-sentence, noticing Malik for the first time. And who is this? This is Malik, Eleanor said with surprising firmness. He helped me when no one else would. The man's eyes narrowed slightly, scanning Malik up and down. Well, thank you, he said stiffly, pulling a wallet from his pocket. Here, for your trouble. He tried to hand Malik a $20 bill. Malik glanced at the bill, then at Eleanor. Her expression was unreadable, but there was a flicker of something, disappointment. No, sir, Malik said quietly. I didn't help her for money. The man looked taken aback. It's just a thank you. I'm good, Malik replied, stuffing his hands in his hoodie pocket. For a moment, silence stretched between them. Then Eleanor smiled, not politely but warmly, genuinely. Would you join me for tea? She asked. Malik hesitated. I don't think. Please, she interrupted softly. It's been a long time since I had company who wasn't paid to be here. The man's jaw tightened, but he stepped aside. Fine, but just for a few minutes. The elevator ride was silent, but Malik felt his ears pop as they soared upward. When the doors opened, his jaw dropped. The penthouse was enormous. Floor-to-ceiling windows with a view of Central Park. Art that looked like it belonged in a museum. Furniture so pristine it felt wrong to sit on it. A housekeeper appeared with tea and biscuits. Eleanor poured carefully, her hands steady now. You know, she began, people see an old woman alone, and they assume she's not worth their time. That's what I was today. Invisible. Malik shifted uncomfortably. Guess they're just busy. They're always busy, she said with a sigh. But you weren't. You stopped, and that says something about you. They talked for nearly an hour. Eleanor asked about his school, his family, his dreams. Malik learned she'd been married to a real estate tycoon, now gone for over a decade. She had no surviving family except her son, the man downstairs, and their relationship seemed strained. I don't go out much anymore, she admitted, and when I do, I sometimes forget where I was going. The doctors call it mild cognitive impairment, a polite way of saying, I'm starting to lose pieces of myself. Malik didn't know what to say, so he just nodded. Before he left, she pressed a small envelope into his hand. For you, she said. He opened it later that night to find not cash, but a scholarship application, already filled out in his name, for a private prep school known for sending students to Ivy League colleges. At the bottom was Eleanor's signature and a note. People who see the invisible deserve to be seen. Over the next months, Malik visited Eleanor every week. Sometimes they played chess, sometimes they just talked. She began remembering little details, his favorite subject, the way he took his tea, the sound of his laugh. When he got accepted into the prep school, she was the first person he told. She clapped her hands like a child, her eyes shining. And when a year later, Eleanor passed away peacefully in her sleep, Malik was shocked to learn she had left a portion of her estate in a trust for his college education. Her son, stiff as ever, handed him the documents without meeting his eyes. Malik stood once more on that same city corner, watching people rush past. He thought about how easy it would have been to keep walking that day, but he didn't. And because he didn't, an old woman wasn't invisible anymore, and a boy from the Bronx had a future he never imagined. Sometimes all it takes is a hand reaching out in the cold.